and welcome to HerStory. There's a lot going on in the world today that just has us all wondering, why are people not happy? We in Zambia live in a Christian nation and religion plays a big role in who we are. However, there's still discontentment and unhappiness. So today we want to explore the influence that religion and spirituality has on our lives. And to do that, we'll be taking a closer look at Thandiwe's book, I Am God Made Manifest and So Are You, to try and understand how to find happiness in our own lives.
This is her story. This is her story. This is her story. This is her story.
So Thandiwe, the book. First of all, tell us a little bit about it.
I wrote the book because I was looking for myself. You know, I would wake up every morning and think, why am I here? Why am I getting up in the morning? For what? To do what? You know? So I started searching around for the meaning of life.
Okay.
I'm not the first person to do that. I think most of us search for the meaning of our life.
Some clearly harder than others.
Yeah, and then while I was searching for the meaning of life, I was then led to search for my purpose, which led to figuring out who I am, what I'm doing on this earth, and thereby knowing what my purpose is.
I think that's really important because I think especially as women, we seem to define our purpose based on being a wife, a mother, a daughter, a sister. But what does that mean when you're talking about your own purpose in this world?
I am a wife, I am a mother, I am a lawyer, but that wasn't enough for me.
Right.
I thought that there was more to me than those three titles that I had.
Was there?
Absolutely. Yes, so I went on the quest to find out who I am.
So how did you go through this whole journey of discovery? Did you just meditate? Did you just talk to yourself every day? What did you do?
The pain in my life led me to try to figure out why I was in pain. Yes. I found out I was depressed, and I didn't know why I was depressed. I seemed to have everything, but still there was something missing from my life.
I was about to say that. I think from the outside, it would be like, you are depressed? Everything looks so wonderful, you're perfect. So, yeah, but it's crazy how many people are probably in a very similar situation.
And chill, I have seen so many articles, I've read so many, I've seen so many TV series that talk about people who are seemingly successful being so miserable.
Right.
And after a while, not knowing what they're doing, on this earth.
Okay, but now you are Catholic, and I've read the book, and I'm not religious at all, but I do think of myself as spiritual. So for me, I found it really fascinating that you talk about things like astrology in the book.
Meditation.
Which are just not concepts that sit very well with the Catholic faith. So how did this work for you? Like, what role did religion play versus spirituality?
I was brought up in the Catholic faith. All my life I've been a Catholic, but I have to admit, I think I was one of those Catholics who just went along with religion, didn't really understand what it was there for.
Yeah.
I went to church, I did all the rituals, but it wasn't in my heart.
Right.
I couldn't connect to what I was being taught. Yes, I know that there's a God, I know that there's Jesus Christ, and I know that there's the Holy Spirit, but I really didn't see what role they had in my life. I used to get so mad because I could never be as perfect as Jesus Christ. Yeah. And now, in hindsight, I know that I'm not supposed to be perfect.
Right.
But when I was growing up, I felt so little because I could never measure up to Jesus. So I didn't really have a great connection to Jesus Christ. I just thought that he just made my life miserable.
But do you agree with the concept and the philosophy that there is something bigger than yourself? Do you think human beings need to have something that is bigger than themselves?
Yes. And that's why I went on my quest. But going back to religion, okay, look, I have nothing against religion, okay? Religion plays a great part in our life. It gives us a moral compass, it keeps things in order. People don't know not to do certain things because their God or whoever tells them that it's wrong.
Right.
And it keeps society sane. So I have nothing against religion. It's just that after a while it didn't work for me. So I went on my quest. And I then learned about spirituality. I said, what's the spirituality? And it's really simple. spirituality is just your connection to God and to everybody else around you. Yeah, which I think religion tries to touch on, but I think religion is more controlling than spirituality. Spirituality just says, just, you know, be yourself,
Right.
yeah, but just know that you are connected to something greater than you are, greater than you, and greater than everything, and we're all connected in some way.
Okay, so
Yeah.
can we just talk about that connection? Because in the book, you talk about how we lost this connection to God. Can you explain that a little bit?
I wasn't actually going to do that, Kat. I was going to say, read the book.
I think it just gives people an insight into why we need to, you don't have to explain why the connection is lost, but why do we need to rebuild that connection?
I think from the beginning of time, we were connected to God. We knew that we were part of God.
Right.
But then human beings decided that they didn't want to maintain this connection to God.
Okay.
They wanted to explore who they are separately from God. In that, they lost their connection to God through their sixth sense, okay? And they only concentrated on life on earth. They only concentrate on exploring life on earth using their five senses, okay? So from that separation comes all the issues that we face today, because we're not part of God anymore. Well, we think we're not part of it. We are, you know. Yeah. The illusion that we are not part of God, but in reality, we are. So finding God is finding that reconnection to God again.
Do you think this is where you've talked before about, this is where you get purpose, acceptance, you maybe no longer feel the judgment that we would feel from society because you've now got, you know, not you've got, you've always had, but now you know your direct connection to God. And you know your purpose, possible, or you are willing to accept your situation.
Okay. So, purpose is actually different from judgment, okay? We judge things because we don't understand them.
Right.
Okay? So when you accept that everything in your life is as it should be, yeah, and you will find your purpose from there, you then stop the judgment, okay? You then stop wishing that things would be different. The judgment stops when you look at your life and say, what is this trying to tell me? What are these circumstances in my life trying to tell me? Rather than wishing that they were not there.
Right.
They're there for a purpose. Everything in life for me happens for a purpose. And for us to figure out what that all means, we have to look at what's happening in our lives and try to figure out what the lessons are. Yeah. Once you know that everything is as it should be, then the judgment stops. Yeah. And life is, I think, more interesting because you're not judging, you're not angry all the time. You're busy
More
finding
peaceful
out, of course,
and happy.
Yes, I think that's where the
So
peace comes
deep.
in.
But I think just to be clear about the lessons and the acceptance, what you're not saying is that you stay in a bad situation. Like, can you explain that a little bit?
What I'm saying is sometimes we find ourselves in a bad situation, okay? And then, so that pain, yeah, the pain that you feel because you're not happy with yourself, you're not happy with your life, yeah? That pain should drive you to ask questions. Why am I in pain? Because pain is not natural to us. Why?
Can we change our circumstance?
Of course you can. You merely have to choose to do so. And it's that simple. Yeah.
You say that, but now I'm like, oh gosh, my situation
But I think
is
the
not,
pain,
yeah.
the chill. The pain comes from knowing that things have to change, but you not being ready to make certain decisions that sometimes you have to make, you know, to change your life. Yeah.
You mentioned something just a little while ago, and I want to go back to that a little bit, about religion controlling. So in Zambia, there's always talk about being a Christian nation, however we tolerate other religions, but we often see a lot of very un-Christian things being done at the highest level, you know, to each other. We accept as a society what I would consider very un-Christian things. Oh, if your husband cheats, oh, that's just how men are. For me, that's not very Christian. If a woman gets beaten or abused, sorry for her, she'll get over it, it'll be fine. What's your take on this notion about not just governments, but about religion being used for us to control people, especially if we've lost that sixth sense that you've talked about?
I think since the birth of the Roman Catholic Church, there's been control. The Roman Catholic Church has always wanted to control how we view God, because that's how they made their money, that's how they controlled us, basically. So from then, there's always been control. We're always told what to think, okay? And we're not allowed to figure out what our view is in certain situations, I think. The church always says, this is our position, so if you are a part of this religion or part of this church, then you must follow what they think is right, and not necessarily what the individual thinks is right. So the individual is controlled by the church. Now, I think what our government is doing today is that they're trying to control us with religion. Okay? They're trying to say, we are a Christian nation, so therefore, let's pray for things to get better in this country. They're not looking at what is going wrong, but they're saying, we will have a day of prayer or whatever, and things will get better. But they're not actually taking steps for things to get better.
But I think also, again, that's a large misinterpretation of religion as well, is this belief that as long as I just pray, it will get better. It will solve my problem without me taking action. And that's something we always talk about, is this idea that you have to do the work. And in your book, you also talk about that there is some work you need to do to get to that purpose, the acceptance, to the non-judgment. And that's about knowing who you are.
So we've talked about prayer. We talked a little bit about meditation. Now, do you?
No, we haven't.
No, I have. I talked about meditation. I've mentioned it a couple of times.
Oh,
and right now,
in your quest.
yes, and that's what I'm saying. Not about them being individual subjects, but I want to ask, for you, what is the difference between prayer and meditation?
Oh, God.
And do we need to do both?
God. I think both of them are very personal to the individual. For me, prayer is actually talking to God and not listening to hear what He has to say to you. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's how I think of prayer. Okay, Lord, please give me this. Lord, please give me that. Please bring peace. But I think for me, meditation is when you sit quietly with yourself, you ask God a question, and you wait to get the answer. It is not simple, because it takes a lot of practice to be able to hear the message and not all the clutter that is in your mind constantly. Yeah, so for me, that's the difference.
So do you meditate?
I do. I'm not very good at it, because I find it really hard. I have a really active mind.
Yeah.
So trying to still my mind to listen to the message that I'm supposed to get from my guides or from God, it's actually, I have to do a lot of mind clearing. Yeah, for me to meditate.
And speaking of mind clearing, another issue that's in your book, mindfulness. What is that?
Mindfulness to me is just being aware all the time that you are living among people. And you need to be mindful of your actions.
So this is where we talk about looking at ourselves.
Looking at ourselves and looking at how our actions affect other people.
And they always do.
And they always do. There's always a consequence to an action. Yeah. So that's just being mindfulness. And there's something else called awareness, Kathy. I think for me, awareness is listening out to that voice inside you that's always guiding you to find your purpose, to find your path or whatever, and taking action. Yeah.
So you talked about the clutter that you have in your mind, which is why meditation is so difficult. I remember reading somewhere, it was like, it's like training a monkey in your mind. And I was like, yes,
to be quiet.
Yes, to be quiet. I'm like, it's so difficult. But even just in terms of, I think as people, we have so many opinions thrown at us. This is what you're supposed to be doing. This is how you're supposed to be. How do you get to that stillness? Like, because to find your purpose, you have to be still and open to listening. So how?
Kathy, you actually said it. You do the work yourself. You learn how to be still. You ask yourself, what is important to me? I get like 10,000 SMSs every day, WhatsApp and emails and stuff. Sometimes I just have to say, do I really need to read all these 10,000 emails and all these SMSs, WhatsApp messages? What is important to me? So the way I do that is, most of the time in the morning, I sit with myself and I just say, what do I want to achieve today? Yeah, and then I set my intent for that day, and and ask that God guides me
For that
me
day.
for that day, yes. So that I am mindful of what I want, what is important to me, and not what everybody else around me is doing.
Has this made you, we were talking about removing labels, so you've gone on this journey, and I think it's an ongoing journey. I don't think the journey ever stops. It never ends, you know.
Because
But-
you learn something new every day.
But do you find that your relationships with your children, your siblings, your friends, have they improved?
True. Because now I know what's important to me, and that's what I concentrate on. Okay, yeah. Even with my friends, I try to be as honest with myself and with them as possible. And if I don't want to do things, if I don't want to do something, I expect my friends to understand who I am and know that I don't want to do or to go out that night or just or
Whatever it might
yeah,
be.
whatever it might be. I think they understand me, and I should also understand them. You know?
Have you lost some friends?
Not necessarily.
Not lost, but where some, maybe not lost, but where you're like, you know what, is this
Yeah.
person really the right person?
maybe
You have to
not.
ask yourself
Maybe
those
now,
questions.
yeah, now I spend more time with some friends than others. Yeah. But I try not to be judgmental about it. We're all different.
Yeah, it's
you know,
true.
and I miss my old friends. Once in a while I'll call them up and say, no, let's hang out, Yeah. I'm not trying to be holier than everybody else. No. I'm just trying to be more mindful of what I want.
I'm curious, when you were on your path of discovery, for a lack of better words, you obviously talked to a lot of people. Who did you talk to? What did they say to you? Were you shocked? It must have been very emotional. Where did you even find these people?
I talk to a lot of people, I mean, just a conversation with Kathy or with you, sometimes would just, something in my mind would click. I was like, that's interesting. I wonder if I can learn more or expand more on that. But honestly, for me, what drove me was just just that feeling of, what am I doing here, So, something that really changed my life was reading the book, Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. Yeah. He just blew my mind, and I saw God and religion and everything else in a very, very different way. And then from then on, my journey and my quest to find out who I am started. So I was introduced to a lady who channels a spirit called John the Beloved, and he's been instrumental in where I am today. He's really helped me figure out who I am and what my purpose is. I know that in Africa we're very, very spiritual.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very spiritual. And I just find it so sad that
It's been suppressed a lot.
it's been suppressed, and no one writes books about spirituality. I find it sad that I have to go out of my religion and out of my continent to find answers to things that I know that Zambians know in their heart, that we've been practicing for years, for centuries, for millennia, So I wrote this book, obviously, and I would really love Zambians to read this book so that we can find our own spirituality.
Right.
Yes, and we can start writing about it.
So you're saying we don't have to lose our religion.
Yeah,
Then that's the thing. We don't have to lose, I mean, like you, born in the Catholic Church, but we don't have to lose our religion. But we can find, for me, it's always been about faith. Because it's true. We go to church, we do our rituals, but it's really like, and then, so it's been like a lot about faith. But I think if we can just because you're spiritual does not mean you have to lose what you know, this religion you have that you respect, that you follow, that guides you in many ways.
I will always be a Catholic, but I think I am a better person.
Yeah.
Which I'm a better Catholic. I'm a better person because of this added understanding of spirituality to my life. Yes.
So, are you still depressed?
No.
You're happy now!
I was like,
You and I were going to get depressed.
And how long did it take you to write the book?
Let me just say something, Kathy.
Okay.
I am not depressed anymore.
It's very brave of you to say that. Let me just say that because
Yeah.
in Zambia we don't recognize, and I think we think
Mental health
depression,
Yeah.
we think depression, and not swaying off, but we often think it's someone who's at home crying and moping and weeping and not knowing that somebody's carrying around this burden, and they think, well, why didn't she talk to her aunt or tell somebody?
Or pray.
Or pray, yes,
And
or
pray
just
also
pray about
deliverance,
it,
yes.
or just and I think it's very brave for you to come out. You know what? I was depressed, and I knew it, and I had to figure out why, because there really wasn't any reason
For me
to be. Yeah.
What was the question, Joe?
I didn't have one. I cut you off. Sorry, you were saying something. Because
Yeah,
Kathy asked
you
you
were
how
saying-
long did it take you to...
No, but before I asked if you were over the depression.
Yes, I
Yes.
have. Yeah. I think knowing my purpose, just it brings so much joy to my life.
Right.
I get up every morning with a smile on my face. Thinking,
Woo!
okay,
It's like a song.
Okay, not every morning though. Most mornings I get up and I know why I'm getting up in the morning and what I'm doing for that day.
So do you think you also, has the fear gone? The fear to take things head on? Something you don't like, something that might scare you, but now it's like, this is not good. This is a toxin in my life. It's not good. I'm just going to face it head on.
The fear, I don't think fear really goes away. I think every time you do something new, you're fearful about how people are going to react to you, whether you'll be good at it or whatever. But I think the fear is more controllable.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just don't let it control me anymore.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I have faith
Yeah.
that I will get over my fear and I'll do what I need to.
Oh my God, fear controls my life like crazy. Oh,
I think
God.
it controls pretty
A
much
lot of
everyone's
people's lives.
It's like everything. I think everything I do is driven by
Fear.
fear. Yeah. Before I know we're probably wrapping up soon, but I want at the beginning you talked about how especially women were put in these boxes. You're a mother, you're somebody's daughter, you're somebody's wife, and often we end up taking care of everybody else, but we never take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Have you started to take care of yourself?
Absolutely.
Or, I mean, what can we tell other women to be like, look, you've also got to have time for yourself, or...
We don't come to this earth to be just a mother or just a wife or somebody's daughter. We come to this earth to reconnect to God.
Okay.
Okay, being a mother, being a wife, they're just the tools that we use to reconnect to God. Yeah? I would advise everybody to just listen to that inner voice that all of us have. Listen to that voice and really listen to what it's telling you. And you will find your purpose and you'll find your joy.
And not fear the judgment.
Yeah. Well, that takes a long time.
It takes a long time, but I
Yeah.
think that's...
Yeah.
I mean,
but I
personally,
think-
that's what holds me back a lot of
Yes.
times. Yeah, it's the judgment.
But chill, when you start listening to yourself, when that voice gets louder and louder and louder, you won't care what other people think. You know? Yeah, you won't care. The more self-aware you become, I think the stronger you get.
So writing your book was a bit like your eat, pray, love moment.
Yes. It was. I couldn't afford to go
She
to.
called Australia, she didn't go there. Yeah.
I couldn't afford to go to.
You know what I mean?
India to find myself.
Yeah,
So,
that would
I
even
had
have
to.
school fees, for sure.
Well, I mean, I read the book and I found it an eye-opener. Of course, I never did the work, but I will read it again to do the work. But I do think that, coming back to talking about mental health issues and just understanding your purpose in life, because I think too many times we walk around thinking, is this all?
Yes.
It doesn't matter whether you've got a job, you're in a perfect relationship or whatever. Sometimes you just feel there's something missing.
Yes. And then I think once you find that connection to yourself, and once you find that connection to God and everybody around you, that fear, that the meaningful of life will become clearer. Okay.
Nice.
So when can we get the book? For those who haven't read it.
Haven't purchased it, but I'm still working on it. Yeah.
The book will be in Zambian bookstores very soon. I just got a huge consignment, and they will be at Book World and some.
The one at 8 o'clock?
Yeah. Book World will have it, and a few stores in town will have it.
In Lusaka.
In Lusaka, yes. But if you can't find them there, they are available on Amazon and just Google the book or my name and it'll come.
Can people ask for it maybe on the HerStory Facebook page? Because then
Yes.
Signpost them to
Yeah.
the right place.
Yes.
Great, well, thank you for sharing the insights into the book. You know, there's so much more. This book
Yeah.
is deep.
it is so deep.
Yeah. It is very hard to talk about a whole book and to talk about spirituality in the 20 minutes that we have.
It's a journey for sure.
And it's a big topic.
And I think you have to be ready for it. Maybe that's it, you have to be ready for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think like with any book, especially a self-awareness book, you have to be at a certain point in your life to truly appreciate it. And I feel like especially as women, we get to points where, okay, I'm educated, I've checked all the boxes,
Yeah.
but still,
There's something missing.
there's something missing, and that's when you read the book, and it makes sense.
Yes.
Super.
Read the book and do the work.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
All
great having the knowledge, but you have to apply the
Do the
knowledge
work.
to
Do the
to-
work.
to-
Okay,
to
do the
yourself.
work.
Yeah. Do the
Yeah,
work.
do the work.
Do the work.
Do the work. Do the work.
Anyway, thank you again for joining us on HerStory. And as Thandiwe said, the book is available online, and you can leave requests on the Facebook page, and we'll try and figure out how you can get it. And once you have read it, please share your reviews and thoughts and comments, both on Amazon and on our Facebook page. So thank you. Until next time.
This is her story. This is her